morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the next fast-paced session, where in the next 20 minutes, myself, Carlene, part of the Microsoft Fabric marketing team, and my colleague, Shafia,
I'm part of the product group and I lead Fabric IQ.
we'll try to give you a quick update on what Fabric is, how it helps improve retail intelligence, and then lastly, share a little bit more about Fabric IQ, which is the latest workload that we released a few weeks ago. Now, before getting started, thank you for the enthusiasm. Before getting started, and I'm sure you've heard this in every booth that you've visited, every breakout, every keynote you've been in, AI is transforming the world, and AI is impacting a lot of you all across all the different dimensions, be it in how you treat your employees and how you make sure that AI is improving how much work they can put in and their best work, how it's improving or impacting your business processes, as well as how it's helping you meet customer changing demand. Now, just as important as AI is the data that AI is built on or sourced on. And so I'm sure you've heard garbage in, garbage out. That really is not different with AI. And so that's really what we want to talk about in the next 20 minutes or so. Unfortunately, if you're like many enterprises out there, your environment looks a lot different than a clean, sourced, aligned data estate. Different people have different interests, use different sources, different IT teams, different projects, and so it's looking a lot more complicated than it should be. And so that's where step number one for us at Microsoft is really helping customers unify their data estate. Independent of where your data resides, be it in the Microsoft first-party solution, or be it in our third-party offerings like Snowflake, Databricks, SAP, and any other system, we really want to help our customers unify and meet them where they're at with their current investments in the data estate. We want to help our customers become CIOs again, or at least have the CIOs be CIOs, because what we hear in our enterprise discussions is really that they are considered chief integration officers, because there's so many tools, so many different assets that they have to bring together that all their time is spent on integrating rather than influencing development and what's next. And so that's why 2 years ago, we brought to market something called Fabric. It's our unified data estate solution, fully software as a service, available in a 5x5 experience. 5 minutes to sign up and 5 seconds to be wowed. And so Fabric really brings together the best of breed of all of these solutions that we already had in market, like Power BI for visualization of your data, all the way to Data Factory for the integration of your data. Bringing together data engineering, data science workloads, as well as offering the first in industry software as a service databases with SQL database, Cosmos DB, readily available by click of the button in Fabric. Real-time intelligence for all of your real-time inputs and streaming data coming in to really ensure that you have that entire data estate set of tools readily available. All built on, of course, a secure and governed platform with OneLake at the beating heart of it all. OneLake, kind of like your OneDrive for Office, OneLake is your unified data lake for Fabric. And so where Fabric is set out to really help organizations like your own unify the data and bringing it all together, make it more efficient, having a single copy of your data rather than data risk and data sprawl. We still have a big question, which is once you've unified that data, how can it help you unify your business organization? So if you look at a retailer and you look at the different entities and artifacts that you as a retailer are interested in, thinking of your specific inventory, shipments, products, the pricing, forecast, these are all elements that are super important to your day-to-day. Connect that to the relationships that they all have with each other and how they influence each other, right? Inventory and how that influences your shipments. Think of the orders, but also how different products influence all of these entities. And then also your objectives. They're no different than your competitors, but you want to make sure that all of the things that you are doing are done in a way that puts safety at the front and center, as well as making sure that your customer satisfaction is at an all-time high, as well as making sure that your ROI remains positive. And so those are really the enablement or the tools that you want to help your teams enable with. Add in policies, add in actions that they can take based on these real-time changing entities in your organization. However, this doesn't always look as cleanly as it does on this slide. And that's where I invite Shafia to do the hard part, which is show us how we solve this.
So as Colleen mentioned, when you operate your retail business, you operate in the language of the business. You have your policies, entities, and whatnot. But the reality is different when it comes to how the data is used today. So your data sits in tables, like has different schemas, like has geospatial, like streams and whatnot. Which basically makes it hard for the teams to work actually in the language of the business. So when you have a question, there is an expert that will go and create a report to answer that specific question. So if you are looking, for example, what is the specific inventory I have for this product, then like you have your specific report that you will look at. And then whenever there is a new question, you have also to go back to the data expert and work with them to create a new report. And when you zoom out across like the different teams and business units, like this is also kind of replicated across the different teams, which makes it really hard to create a unified understanding, because like these teams like are siloed, and like there are different pieces that goes across the different teams, and it's hard to answer a question at the company-wide level. And so that's kind of what create like fragmentation. It makes like the business be more reactive than being proactive, kind of resulting in slow decisions. And so the question is like, how do we go from that into a unified view of the business that is live, that has all the operational context for your teams to make the right decisions at the right time, and like that brings like the data and its meaning and the best action, or the actions with best outcome for the teams. And so the goal is like also, how do we kind of break the traditional observe, analyze, decide, and act, and make it like a continuous virtuous cycle where both the AI agents and your teams are operating together, like learning, iterating, and adapting based on the signals and actions, again, in a unified way. And that's kind of where having a unified semantic understanding is critical for the business, for like whether it's the store or the supply chain or whatever, whichever aspect of your business that you care about. And so the question is like, how do we bring all of this together and make it available as a semantic foundation, both for the humans, so the people, but also for the AI agent, so that when you have questions, answers, or you need to make decisions, you have all the live operational context of your business. It's not like from 10 days ago. It's not like interpreted based on the team, but it's all kind of shared and unified, and it has the policies, the constraints, and the rules embedded into that kind of semantic foundation. And that's where, as kind of we are thrilled that kind of we announced back at Ignite a new set of capabilities, which is Fabric IQ, which turns actually Fabric and takes Fabric from a unified data platform into unified data intelligence platform. And so it gives you kind of that semantic foundation that brings together the data models, the rules, the actions, and present it for, again, both the AI agent and the humans to act based on the context-rich insights. So it's not only like in a segment of data, but like when I need to understand, for example, for inventory, because I have the full context, it will take into consideration the status of your real-time supply chain, the real-time demand, and kind of take all those dimensions together to power then the AI agents that are both provided in Fabric, but also in Microsoft Foundry, which is like the platform to create AI agent to take the best decisions. So I have a quick video to share to show to see this in action and how it comes all together.
Data is the fuel that powers AI, but data alone is not enough. AI needs an understanding of what the data means, how things relate, and which actions turn insight into impact. Introducing Microsoft Fabric IQ, the semantic foundation that unites data, business meaning, and action into a single unified view of your organization. Model your business using visual, no-code tools so the people who know your company can adapt it as fast as it evolves. Create entities over all your data in one lake, not only your analytical data and Power BI semantic models, but also your operational, geospatial, and real-time data. Navigate your business the way it actually runs, not by tables and schemas, but by organizational concepts. And ultimately, elevate your teams and your AI to ask questions, reason, and act in the language of your business. Powered by this live, unified view of your organization. Trigger actions in real time using rules and empower AI operations agents to run your business, because now they understand its live context. Connect Fabric IQ seamlessly with Foundry IQ, uniting your live business context with the knowledge captured in your documents and communications. This combination from Microsoft gives developer-built agents in Foundry unmatched context, so they can make decisions you trust and continuously optimize your operations for superior outcomes. From unified data to unified intelligence, this is IQ in Microsoft Fabric.
So we have seen here how Fabric IQ unifies all of your data with your operational systems, providing the unified layer, the unified semantic foundation for both the teams and AI agent to take the best decisions or the decisions with the best outcome, leveraging all the context. And today, if you have invested in Power BI and you have your existing Power BI semantic models, the Fabric IQ actually helps you continue from there and expand your Power BI semantic models to jumpstart and create these IQ models and expand them to include and integrate real-time insight, including geospatial, actions, rules, and so on. And all of this kind of semantic foundation is layered on top of the existing data foundation that is provided by Fabric and OneLake. And not only that, as like we have seen in the video, it also actually integrates with Microsoft 365 and Foundry out of the box. And it kind of pushes and kind of expands, I should say, into the business users in your organizations to empower them to model how their business runs. And we do that by providing no-code experiences and low-code experiences, all unified under the same umbrella of Fabric that has a unified and simple business model. So you would ask, like, how does this change, like, how we work, right? Or like how the AI agent works. If you look today, when you overlay AI agents on top of your raw data, it's actually what they do is they just interpret the tables without any context about the business. Like, they don't know what relates to what are the constraints of the business, what action to take in which situation. With Fabric IQ, the AI agent will be grounded in the live unified business context of your operation. So they have all the operational context to enable like more accurate and better decision intelligence. And the IQ layer, so when you create this IQ foundation or semantic foundation, you create it once and it is available to be used across a wide spectrum of AI agents. So starting from the no-code agent that exists in Fabric that come out of the box, to the low-code agent that your teams can create in Copilot Studio, up to the pro-code agent that are created in Microsoft Foundry. And so all of this, again, unified, and the agent can work both with the human and together to provide kind of that decision intelligence. Now, we get to the demo of the Fabric IQ. So in this scenario, for the demo that we'll be looking at, So imagine you are a retail operation manager and you are looking actually to expand and create some pop-up stores, and you want to leverage AI, you want to leverage the data that you have invested in for many years, and see what are the best optimal places where to open these pop-up stores. And we'll see using the agent on top of raw data versus using the agent with the Fabric IQ. Let's play it.
Imagine this. You need to understand if Zava should open a new pop-up store. Our store operations dashboard has an agent built on Foundry, taking advantage of our data in Microsoft Fabric. You start by asking for markets with high demand signals, but the agent didn't understand what demand signals meant or where the most relevant demand data is. Results by just dropping an agent on top of your data can be mixed at best. AI needs an understanding of what the data means and how things relate to take further action. With Fabric IQ, you can adopt the language of your business, defining entities and connect them across all your data in one lake. From real-time and analytical data, semantic models, and mirrored data from sources like Snowflake, Oracle, or Google BigQuery. You're not just analyzing data, you're giving AI and your people a shared understanding of what it means, so they can act on it in real time. Similar to what semantic models did for business intelligence, Fabric IQ is doing for AI, making results consistent, accurate, and transparent. With the model built, you can see a live, unified view of your organization and visualize how everything connects, from relationship graphs to supporting reports and other business data. You can also trigger rules to take action and leverage agents to help run your business through automated decision making. Using Fabric's geospatial capabilities, you can instantly see how shipment delays affect demand across regions and where opportunities are emerging. After adding Fabric IQ as a knowledge for our agent in Foundry, it looks like Boston is the strongest candidate for the next pop-up store. We now have confidence in the results provided by our AI solution. It has a deeper understanding of our business and provides much more relevant guidance. With that, we've published Fabric IQ and it's ready to fuel other solutions and any agent, including Foundry. From unified data to unified intelligence, this is IQ in Microsoft Fabric.
So we have seen in this demo how IQ takes helps the AI agent get better answers with taking into consideration the operational context. We have seen the operational context, not only the demand of the market demand or the products, but we overlaid also geospatial context with information about the status of the shipment, the status of the demand based on like the East Coast and West Coast and so on. And we also enabled embedding rules and actions as you have seen. So when there is, for example, like an inventory that gets lower in one area, you trigger the right workflows for the teams, but also for the AI agents. So that's kind of what IQ does. It creates that unified semantic layer taking into kind of all the data that you have, providing meaning to that data, adding actions and rules and logic on top of it, and providing input for the decision intelligence. Wanted to share like with you also a set of resources here that you can use. Will be also at FabCon Atlanta, so March 16th. So would welcome you to join us there as well. Thank you for attending, and please feel free to join us also in our booth. We are right here if you have any questions, if you want to chat a little bit more. Thank you.